sociologist Jordan Curry, and today I'm here with the fox feral child Callum. So I'd like to ask you just a few simple questions today. The first one is, when you were among the foxes, were you in any sort of social hierarchy, and was there any sort of ranking system among them?
Well, there was a sort of hierarchy, but it's not like typical packs of animals. Wolves, for example, they have an alpha male, they have a dominant leader of the group, whereas with us, we didn't have that. We were sort of a collective family. In terms of ranking, it was really separated by two different age groups. There was the younger ones, the kids, as we're called, were the younger foxes, and then there was the elder foxes. Basically, the kids, we'd be responsible for doing small tasks, but necessary and vital for the pack. We would bring in some food items, some sticks for shelter and whatnot, and we'd also help make the burrows where we lived in. Yeah, I sort of fell in with the younger kids for the majority of my time to stay there because I was taken in as a very young child. So yeah, I was considered a kid, and I just helped out with the adults, and I always consider myself then, I guess, lesser of a fox.
Next question I have for you today is, other than foxes, were there any other animals that you interacted with in your surroundings?
Not particularly. I mean, of course, we'd always hunt and kill small little rodents and all that sort of stuff, prey for ourselves. But we never interacted with any other species of animals. We like to keep to ourselves and have an area for ourselves, for our family, for our.
How did you adjust to your new surroundings once you were brought into human society?
It was very troubling for me at first. I had some minor experience with urban and human life beforehand, because sometimes we'd come out of the woods at nighttime to go and rummage in the garbage dumps and see what we could find in case we didn't bring any food back for our pack. But as human contact, is really noticing them, that was quite a shock to me. Humans are very different than foxes. Whenever I was reintegrated, humans were constantly trying to help me and show me the way, show me what to do. Whereas with foxes, it's, I mean, yes, I'm very fortunate that my mother fox, she took me in, but it was not the same at all.
Did you develop any relationships with any humans in particular when you were found?
Not particularly, no. No, there's no closeness that I felt with any humans. I don't think that will ever happen as I did with my raising fox family.
And my final question for you today would be, now that you've been discovered, do you find it easier to establish relationships with foxes or humans?
Foxes are my first instinct. I understand their social relationships better than I will ever with humans.
Those are all the questions we have today. Thank you so much, Callum, for joining me.
Welcome.
Hi, I'm Megan Belshar. I'm the psychologist for this interview, and I'm here with Callum Pohl, our fox feral child. I have a few questions for you. The first one is, how did you feel being with this fox family? Like, did you understand that you yourself were not a fox?
No, I felt as if I was always a fox. I felt a part of their family. I understood their dynamics. They raised me up. They cared for me. I never considered myself an outsider. And as a fox, you're not really taught to be self-aware. So even if I did see myself, which I don't remember doing, but if I did, I don't think I'd be able to recognize that I looked different than my brothers or sisters. So.
Next question for you. What bothered you about being taken out of the environment you were grown up in with this fox family?
Well, everything. I mean, it was such a erratic change. It just happened all at once. I completely changed. Everything was reversed. It was different. I had to walk on 2 legs instead of using all 4 like I usually did. I was taught how to use plates and cutlery, and it was quite discomforting. So
now that you're out of this wild environment, have you developed any interests or hobbies around these humans?
We are foxes, we're not humans. We're not taught to be intellectual or read books or anything like that. So school for me, learning and sitting in one room and being quarantined like this, like even now I'm shaking a bit. It's not relaxing for me. Whereas sports like football, soccer, that's something I was used to because me and my fellow kids, we used to run around and sort of play with each other and stuff. I'm used to that sort of more physical and active activities and hobbies. So yeah, football, soccer are two things that I enjoy. But that's about it for
Have you been able to participate in sports in this institution?
I have. Sometimes though, I revert back to my old ways because it just evokes the same sort of aggression, the same sort of anger that I felt whenever I was hunting a rat, and sometimes I've been known to bite humans, unfortunately.
How are you able to deal with the affection and empathy you get from humans?
I understand that they're concerned for me and that they just want what they think is best for me, but what they think is best for me is not best for me. What I should have been left in my environment, but I wasn't.
So do you feel you're able to trust these humans now that you've been around them for so long more than your fox family?
No, I don't think so. To go along with what I just said, I understand that the heart's in the right place and everything, and that they just want to help me, but this is not going to help me. I'll never be able to see my family.
Well, thank you for being with us, Callum. It was great to have you. Thank you for joining us in this interview.
Hi, I'm Jesse Conan, and I'm an anthropologist here with Callum, the fox boy. We're going to be asking Callum a few more questions, if that's all right with you. To start things off, in terms of survival, what did you value most while living with the foxes in terms of shelter, food, affection, things like that?
Probably the biggest priority for me as a young fox, as a kid, within my family. Traditionally, what happens is that the kids go out and they find the small food for the family. I mean, the food was my biggest concern and priority, because that's how it works.
Did you live in the same territory whilst growing up, or did you travel and change location?
No, we try to stay within the same area. We marked our territory. It was established as ours. We foxes, we like to stay within the same area. We only move if there's a shortage of food because we've been there for so long. But in this case, there wasn't, so we didn't really have to move that much. A couple of times, competitors came and tried to challenge us for our lands, but we usually fought them and we kept it for ourselves.
Very nice. While staying in the institution, were you able to group the concepts of human cultures, traditions, and values?
For a very long time, no. Human behavior, customs, beliefs, values, all those things, it seemed very off, very wonky. But for a very long time, no, I was not. But eventually I did. Once you get into a pattern of things, and you see things over and over again, you start to click in that this is what you should follow, this is what you should do.
Once you were discovered, did you miss your fox family compared to the humans that were trying to help you?
Yes, I missed them. I missed them terribly much. Of course I did. I mean, they were the ones that raised me up, that provided for me, that gave me life, that gave me shelter, that gave me love and affection.
How have you adapted to living in a human household or institution?
Again, it's brand new to me. I'm still recognizing the patterns of what to do. For example, before I had chores or tasks to do within the fox pack, and now I have different sort of chores here, like for example washing dishes and all that, a very routine sort of life.
Thanks for joining us today. Thanks, Callum. Thank you for viewing this Feral Child special.
And you can talk too because I'm putting audio over it.